Hello. I think cheese and onion crisps are overrated.
That's right, I've just said a controversial opinion, and I bet all you cheese and onion crisp likers are in the comments already, retorting with things like, "That's crisp blasphemy," and "They're better than salt and vinegar," or "Are you saying you hate donuts? Well, steel yourselves, because that was just a warm-up. We're about to chuck some controversial video game opinions your way."
Specifically about brilliant video games that often get overlooked by their more illustrious siblings, but that might, secretly, actually be the best in their respective series.
That's the great thing about opinions though, isn't it? Sometimes when you hear one that's different to your own, it can open your eyes to a new way of looking at things, perhaps a video game you hadn't considered before. It can also make you get your pitchforks out, of course, and that's fine as well, as long as your pitchfork is waved around with respect to everyone else's pitchfork.
Here then are 7 controversial video game opinions that will make you get your knives out. Like that meme from Tangled, you know, where the guy's got his face surrounded by... We were going to recreate that shot, but company coordinator Chloe decided it would contravene health and safety regulations, which is less a controversial opinion and more of a boring one. Anyway, on with the video.
The first controversial video game opinion on this list was suggested by community manager Alex, and it's an opinion so alarming I'm going to chicken out of saying it and invite Alex to get on the sofa and do it himself.
Come on then. Sit down and speak your truth.
Dark Souls 2 is my favourite Dark Souls game. Let me tell you why. Let's just start with the build variety. This game gives the player so much more freedom to create the character that they want to create. Dark Souls 1 gave us a few tools, you can take your character in a few different directions, but on Dark Souls 2, that is taken to a whole other level. There are... And that is simply why I had to get the Platinum Trophy. I just had to.
You just wanted to let everyone know you got the Dark Souls 2 Platinum Trophy, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
I will of course concede that Dark Souls 2 is a brilliant action RPG, and, you know, I've never finished a Dark Souls game, or platinumed a Dark Souls game, or done a speed run of a Dark Souls game. I don't know anything about the later bosses, or what makes an effective loadout, or which stats I should be levelling up first, or where any of the illusory walls are, or how best to kill the crystal lizards, so I don't really feel qualified to have an opinion, but I think
my favourite is Dark Souls 3.
That's also a pretty controversial opinion.
Is it?
Our second controversial opinion is one I've been able to conveniently keep a secret for over a decade, thanks to Skyrim being an RPG that's both everything and everywhere, a behemoth of a game I've sunk over 1,000 hours into over its various iterations, and that comfortably sits in my all-time top 10.
But when Oblivion Remastered came out earlier this year, being all beautiful and Oblivion-y, I realised that Oblivion might actually be my favourite Elder Scrolls game.
It was my first. Back on PS3 in 2007, Oblivion was the game that opened my eyes to an entirely new way of role-playing. As a JRPG-obsessed Final Fantasy fan, Oblivion made me realise there were other ways to RPG besides taking it in turns to hit malevolent mushrooms. Here, you could hit malevolent crabs whenever the heck you wanted. Oh, the freedom!
I'd never known anything like it, and when Remastered came along, the locations, the music, the characters, it all came flooding back.
It's absolutely magic. The Imperial capital, thrusting Gondor-esque through the centre of the map, visible from pretty much anywhere, gives the world a tangible sense of enormousness, anchoring your perspective no matter where you are on the map. I remember the first time I saw it from miles away, the realisation I'd walked that distance, and the giddy stomach drop of excitement I felt because of it.
Skyrim is epic, a wonderful evolution and refinement of the Elder Scrolls formula, but Oblivion will always hold a special place in my heart. Plus it's got Patrick Stewart and Sean Bean in it. It's the best.
Entry number 3 now, and this is one that's been mentioned before on the channel, but it still surprises me every time I hear it. Rosie's favourite Tekken game is Tekken Tag Tournament, an opinion that, for Tekken 3 devotees and hardcore fighting game fans in general, borders on the heretical. So, to shoulder the burden of your inevitable rage, we recorded the meeting where Rosie tried to convince us she was right.
Thank you all very much for coming to my very short presentation. Today, I would like to tell you about Tekken Tag Tournament and why I think it's the best in the Tekken franchise. So I know you're going to be saying...
Actually, I'll spare you the rest because it includes a 28-minute prose poem on the benefits of pairing Jun with True Ogre. I cannot deny, however, that the tag team mechanic is brilliant, adding a level of tense tactical play to versus battles that gives you way more to think about than simply pulling off your next combo.
The character roster is also stacked. Tekken Tag Tournament contains literally every single Tekken character introduced up to that point,
making it basically like Tekken 3 Deluxe, i.e. Tekken 3 with more characters and the ability to tag in teammates. As an early PS2 game, let's not forget this was visually mind-blowing at the time, and to be fair, still holds up pretty well today. I mean, I still think you're wrong, Rosie, but you raise some interesting points.
Any questions? Yep.
What about Tekken 8?
Does Tekken 8 have a bowling mode?
No.
No.
The fourth controversial opinion on this list is an inevitable one and concerns Final Fantasy, a series so beloved by so many that pretty much any opinion you have on it will be controversial to someone.
That is the beauty of Final Fantasy. So many passionate fans, so many of them about to disagree with me when I say
I like Final Fantasy VIII the best. And you know what? I don't, actually. I'm playing devil's advocate.
I'm actually playing Holly Bennett's advocate. Ben Starr's advocate.
As it happens, advocating for Final Fantasy VIII is a refreshing change of pace. Even I'm bored of saying Final Fantasy VII whenever anyone asks me what my favourite game of all time is, and Final Fantasy VIII is, by any standards, a generational JRPG. It just so happened to be released within a 4-year window in which Square Enix, then Squaresoft, also made Final Fantasies 7 and 9.
3 generational RPGs, one after the other. What an era.
The central romance between Squall and Rinoa is as heartwarming as any teenage coming-of-age story. The set pieces are exhilarating. That CGI dance sequence is still one of the most technically impressive video game cutscenes ever made. And Triple Triad, in my not-so-controversial opinion, can lay realistic claim to being the single greatest RPG minigame of all time.
Final Fantasy VIII is the best Final Fantasy game. That's my Ben Starr impression. I could get used to this, actually.
The fifth game we're about to have a controversial opinion about is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, a game that started life as an expansion but ended up a fully fledged game in its own right, one that's every bit as epic and explosive and characterful as its numbered siblings. So maybe it's less controversial and more just a little bit surprising when I say that sometimes I think The Lost Legacy might be my favourite Uncharted game.
Hold it. Hold. Just hear me out. What other series could replace a protagonist as iconic as Nathan Drake and still feel every bit as brilliant?
To be fair, there is only one character I'd accept in place of Drake, and that would be Chloe Fraser, as quick of wit and as smart of mouth as Nate, but with a propensity for risk-taking and thievery that, if anything, often lands her in even more trouble than her protagonist predecessor. Watching Chloe's initially spiky relationship with Nadine soften and bloom into the kind of double act that can carry an entire game is also a treat. The two of them are right up there with Nate and Sully for my money. But what really makes The Lost Legacy soar is the sense of freedom and adventure offered by the lush open setting of India's Western Ghats region, exploring, scribbling discoveries on the map, finding secret treasure, tumbling through bursts of unexpected combat.
It is a proper adventure.
Uncharted is an unbelievable series of games, once-in-a-lifetime stuff, and The Lost Legacy is technically, narratively, and gameplayily astounding, with some of my favourite Uncharted moments ever.
That's not controversial, is it? Don't stare at me, comments. I can feel your stare.
Controversial opinion number 6 is the one I'm most scared to say out loud, but here goes. Ninja Theory's DMC reboot is flippin' brilliant and, in my opinion, up there with the best in the series.
It's okay. It's okay. Nothing bad happened, did it?
This characterful reimagining of the age-old feud between Dante and his brother Virgil was a stylistic marvel, visually arresting, a banging soundtrack, and combat that's every bit as fast and fluid as what came before and after. I particularly loved the boss battles in this, the obnoxious neon gaudiness of your scrap with demonic news anchor Bob Barbas, a wonderfully on-the-nose metaphor for sticking it to the man, but on the nose in exactly the way Devil May Cry should be. It's a series that's rebellious by nature, punching up through the floor of corporate corruption, but also outwards at our expectations and entitlement. There's an angst-fueled restlessness to this game that runs through the story, but also through Dante in both his character and combat style.
It's a great game and I love it. And I still seem to be alive, so let's move quickly on.
Time for our final controversial opinion now, and it's a big one.
Also, I just want to preface this by saying this isn't actually my opinion, it's staff writer Connor's opinion.
Say it.
My favourite Metal Gear game is Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
To be fair, in many ways, it's hard to argue with that opinion. And no, I'm not being controlled by the lale-lule-lo.
I'm being controlled by staff writer Connor.
But real talk, the feel of The Phantom Pain is unmatched. Venom Snake controls like butter. A smooth, responsive, buttery knife through hot guards.
This is where Metal Gear Solid 5 truly shines.
Playing as Venom Snake is undoubtedly the pinnacle of Metal Gear gameplay, if not the stealth action genre as a whole to this day. There is a fluidity to the movement system that no other game has been able to match in the decade since this came out. Belly rolling through patches of desert, only to be spotted by a guard you didn't see, then snapping into reflex mode to pull off the last minute headshot and prevent an alarm.
Mwah. Perfection.
The greatest achievement of Metal Gear Solid 5 is that it lets you express yourself through gameplay without imposing boundaries. If you think it, chances are you can do it. Scooting on your back to line up the perfect shot, skidding down sand dunes in a cardboard box before peeking out for a stealthy kill, coordinating supply drops to fall on enemies' heads. The AI is smart enough to outfox you, but still silly enough to fall for things like this, and almost certainly deliberately programmed that way. Metal Gear is one of those series where everyone will have their favourite, and you could make a case for them all.
And it just so happens that in this video, staff writer Connor has made a case for Metal Gear Solid 5, and I am totally okay with that.
And those were 7 controversial video game opinions you'll definitely disagree with. And if you didn't disagree with any of the entries, then you disagreed with the title of the video, so you're duty-bound to leave a like as far as I'm concerned. Leave your own controversial opinion in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of these videos every Friday. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
PlayStation